So, as you might have heard, this weekend, starting yesterday, is dedicated to the start of the school season. And in this spirit, I thought we could focus on understanding Srila Prabhupada's vision of education. And let's start. So, this presentation is entitled Varnashram, which you all know, the 4 stages of life and the 4 occupations of life, the broad categories. Varnashram without Gurukula, question mark, is just a hobby. Now, hobby, what does it mean, hobby? Hobby is not something bad. Some hobbies are very healthy, like walking in nature, swimming, or painting. But hobby is not something that you make your living with. Something refreshing, entertaining. But the real thing is what you do. Do you have any hobbies, Mayor Prabhu?
Yes.
Which is what?
Which is I like the sports very much, so I like to play badminton. That's my hobby.
Badminton.
Yeah.
Yes. We also play Mayapur for health and for recreation. So,
I also have a hobby. You want to know what it is?
I'm super eager.
To be engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Jai!
This is my hobby. I'm enjoying it every minute of it.
See, when we spoke with our doctor in Mayapur, we said, we played badminton. He said, no, it's not called badminton, it's called goodminton. Because it's very good for you. So Varnashram, Srila Prabhupada had a big vision. He said, okay, these are the different hobbies. Srila Prabhupada had a big vision. This is in Mayapur. You can see the bamboo structure in the back. That is what now is the main gate. Now it's a major construction. So this was the early years, maybe 71, 72, like that. But a few years later, he said in Mayapur, you have to establish Varnashram. And this is especially important because he repeated many times. And this is, he was talking with, not in this photo, but in that morning walk, he was talking with the major leaders of the movement. So, and what's the root of Varnashram? Of course, individually we could work on the different aspects. Vyasa, Brahmachari, Sannyasi, Vanaprastha. But what's the root? The root is education. See, in every society, in every type of civilization, we have a particular type of education. According to the values, according to the dynamics of a certain type of society, they will create a certain education because they want the children to fit into that society. For instance, in an industrial society, the education will be focused on creating managers and engineers because they need that to run that society. So it's a cycle. Certain society creates a certain education, and that education generates people who fit in that society, and so on for generations after generations. So similarly, if we want to create a society, either, of course, talking abroad, we would like to influence the whole society, but even if we want to talk about the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, then we need to have an education so that our children can fit in the values, worldview, standards of Krishna consciousness. You want me to use this? Okay. So Srila Prabhupada said, now you be trained up and revise the whole edition of the Western civilization, especially in America. Then a new chapter will come in. This is the program. Therefore, Varnashram school is required. See, the mind of Srila Prabhupada. If you want to reshape society, you need to reshape the educational system. You cannot reshape society from, adults can certainly adopt and adapt, but ultimately if you want to establish a society, you have to establish that. You're taking notes?
No, my English is not so well, so
Oh, you're
I have to
translating.
translate some words.
Okay. Because otherwise I can give you the whole PowerPoint.
Yes?
Of course. So, if we compare Varnashram to a tree, we need to understand the roots of the tree, not just the leaves and the flowers. So the roots are the education. So Srila Prabhupada, for instance, says in the Bhagavatam, in the system of Varnashram Dharma, which is the beginning of actual human life, small boys after 5 years of age are sent to become brahmachari at the Guru's ashram. Brahmachari. Brahmachari means Brahma Acharati. Spiritual behavior, understanding Brahman, studying the Shastra, controlling the senses, building character, building faith, trust, and submissiveness to Guru. That's why it's the Guru Ashram. Guru Ashram, Guru Kula. Thank you. Therefore, when we talk about education, Srila Prabhupada say Guru Kula and Varnashram school. And as a general indication, he said from 5 to 10 years, Guru Kula. After 10 years, they should go to the Varnashram college. Sometimes at 10 years or 12, but the first education is for building character, for building bhakti, and of course also the basic academics, reading, writing, and so on. But then after 10, 12 years, they should build their vocation. Some people are more inclined for intellectual work, some people more inclined for administrative work, some people are more inclined for trading and business, and some people are more inclined for different skills, manual skills, craftsmanship. Srila Prabhupada in the 7th canto also explains that Gurukul education is not just to get a job or an occupation, but it's also to prepare for renunciation after the productive years. Formerly the Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas, everyone but the Shudras were trained in the Gurukula. There have consequently been many instances in which great kings and emperors have given up household life. They could give up all their possessions because they were trained early as brahmachari. So this is important because sometimes modern education focuses more on preparing a student for the job market. And that's it. And if the student gets the job, it's already a success. But the Vedic concept, the traditional Indian concept, is that education is also to prepare for retirement and renunciation. That's why we see kings who, although lived in opulence, in marvelous palaces, they could renounce and go to the forest. Why? Because they were trained early as brahmachari. So for them, austerity was second nature. You go back to something you know. Nowadays, old people generally, they don't go anywhere because they don't go anywhere in the sense that they just last few years of their life, they play cards or they just watch TV because that's all they know. tree, no, when you want the tree to grow, stronger are the roots and stronger will be the tree. So if we want to build the tree of Varnashram, Gurukul, Varnashram College, and then the 4 Varnas and 4 Ashram can be very, very solid, very steady. So the children, if they grow up in this Krishna conscious environment, then they can maintain the Krishna consciousness also throughout life. So, if we compare the Varnashram to a tree, if the roots are not solid, the tree will fall off at the first gust of wind. No? So, without Gurukula, Varnashram will be cut down. Therefore, we say that Varnashram without Gurukula is a hobby. In other words, we can talk so much about Varnashram, but of course we can also do some efforts, try to improve Grihasthashram, less divorces, less fights. We can improve Brahmacharya ashram. These boys are coming, so let's give them education and everything. But for the whole society, it's very important to create the education for Varnashram. And who is saying this? I'm only repeating the words of His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or as you call him here, the Grunder Acharya. For instance, he wrote to a disciple, if you become headmaster of the Gurukula, that is more important than going to South America. This is the most important post in pushing on this movement. To another disciple, on my birthday, he wrote, I consider this Gurukul school to be one of our most important aspects of this movement, and it should be given all serious consideration by the members. So, Srila Prabhupada was not only talking theoretically. See, certain things he said was more to discuss, how the Vedic time it was with the kings, but he was not trying to implement that. So it was more like an historical perspective to understand certain principles, but was not for implementation. But in this case, Srila Prabhupada put so much energy, so much time and effort to see this school. So these children are real. They're not AI generated. I didn't ask ChatGPT, put Srila Prabhupada and put some children shaved up. No, these are real. So, of course, now they will be in their, in their 50s and 60s. But,
and they tell you the real story.
but that was Srila Prabhupada personal involvement. He first started a school in Dallas, Texas, then Vrindavan. For instance, to the couple Dayananda and Nandarani, he wrote, Gurukul is our most important project. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, see, one may say, but those are personal letters, it was encouraging. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is official, solemn, public, he also wrote, in our Krishna consciousness movement, the Gurukula plays an extremely important part in our activities. Because right from childhood, the boys at the Gurukul are instructed about Krishna consciousness. Thus they become steady within the course of their hearts. And we have seen boys who have been happy in Gurukul, and they remain in Krishna consciousness all their life. Even if during the teenager year they want to experience the world, experience some
Maya.
extracurricular activities. Let's put it like that. Still, then they come back.
It took a long time to find the words.
So Srila Prabhupada here, once he said that the Gurukula, he started teaching Sanskrit, how to write Sanskrit. So he asked, who wants to come? And this boy, Dvarakadish, he came, and Srila Prabhupada, with his hand, made this letter in Sanskrit. So, in other words, Srila Prabhupada directly was involved, was not a theoretical, hypothetical discussion. No? Okay. In the Bhagavatam again, 4th canto, it is necessary for the leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement to start educational institutions in different parts of the world to train children, starting at the age of 5 years. Thus, such children can all become devotees of the Lord. The face of the world will then change automatically. It's like when you imagine you have a chemical, or you have some chemical, then sometimes you put some chemical and the whole thing changes, right? So if we inject enough pure devotees in society, even if it's a small percentage, the society would be influenced. Just like if you have water and you put this like orange powder, the whole water becomes orange. You don't need much, just a little bit. Sometimes what they call a tablet. So even if it's a small percentage, they will influence society. Now, we need to understand why it did not work. My analysis is that we did not apply, some of the bodies online, they think, oh really, why did it not work? Well,
who says it did not work? What
well,
is
it
the
did not work.
conclusion of that?
Well, let's say it did not work, meaning that Srila Prabhupada wanted to start education institution in different parts of the world, but we didn't really, we were not so good at that.
Yeah. So it would be nice to differentiate this question, it did not work.
Yes, yes.
Because it gives the impression it didn't work.
I should clarify why it did not work on a large scale.
Yeah, yes.
I will change it maybe
because
later.
this is confusing.
Yes. Why it did not work on a large scale? I will change that. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Good point. Why it did not work on a large scale?
Yes.
Because in some place it was done. My understanding is that we did not apply what Srila Prabhupada gave as the recipe. See, when you cook, obviously, you need to follow the recipe. If they say, look, there are these ingredients, you got to put these ingredients, otherwise...
The cake will not be a cake.
Yes, yes, it will be something else. What to speak of if we put the wrong ingredients. Like 3 days ago, we were in Zurich, and what happened?
There's a lot of salt instead of sugar in the Charanamrita.
Yeah.
It always happens in Switzerland. I was at the Sankirtan festival at Harinam, and they distribute 1,000 books in a day, so they make a big cake. Many cakes, actually. And all cakes were sold.
Oh, no.
So what to do? Then they said, we will go to the drug scene and distribute there. So we did. And they took it. And after some time says, is there soy drin? I said, no, you take it.
Hare Krishna.
I think they have the same 2 containers, salt and sugar. They look the same, so sometimes they put a lot of salt instead of sugar.
So in our case, what was the recipe? Srila Prabhupada said, engage the best people. And funding. Need enough money. To take care of the children, to take care of the structure, to take care of the teachers. Hey, let's give a couple of examples of each. Srila Prabhupada said, teaching should be done by the sannyasis, just like a missionary school, the fathers teachers. Missionary school means the Christian schools. In fact, Srila Prabhupada went to the Scottish Church College, so he saw, the priests teach. Of course, sannyasi or grihastha, the point, the best people. Mature, senior scholarly patient like that. And to Satsarup Maharaj, who was managing Dallas, that school is very, very important business. And the best man must be found out for taking charge there and developing it nicely.
Or best woman.
But unfortunately, sometimes this was not done. And sometimes the devotees sent to serve in Gurukul were those who could not do anything else. They could not distribute books, they could not collect money, they could not manage, they could not be head pujaris because they were not steady. So they're basically useless. I have an idea. Let's send them to Gurukul. That's a part of it. No, I'm not saying they were also very good teacher, very dedicated, intelligent. But sometimes it was not the policy to send the best people. About the money, Srila Prabhupada said, and this may be the temple managers may not like this quote very much. All grihastas who are interested in doing business should do so in full swing. Let all the grihastas who wish to execute business full-fledgedly in the USA and in this way support Gurukula. The profits from the business should first go to support Gurukula, and balance may be given for the local temple maintenance. This is the Grunderacharya, not any personal opinion of somebody. Unconditioned soul who just had some idea. No. So, Gurukul priority. It's just like if you're children, the first thing you think is about your children, right? Everything else is secondary. There's no even question. So if you think about vacation, first thing you think about the children, will the children be happy there, will there be things for them to do, and so on. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada said, first the children. Do business, make money, but support the Gurukul. But this was not done. I mean, if you ask, for instance, Urmila Mataji, she was telling me in her school in North Carolina, at the time she had to remind so many times to the parents to pay the fees. Otherwise they will not do it. You know, so, no, the school is there. No, but you got to pay for your child, you know. So anyway, so and also here to Jagadish, who's one of the GBCs, the GBC should make an injunction that if they beget children, then whatever the expenses are for supporting Gurukula, they must pay for it. No comment necessary.
I make a comment.
Oh sure, no, I mean not comment for me necessary.
I was for many years Gurukul director for in New Vrindavan. Because I had a child myself, Harikirtan, and I was not ready to just put him there under the condition it was. So I said, okay, he can be there. He should be there. He wanted to be there because he said, my service in my age is to be in Gurukul. This is what Prabhupada wanted. So he decided, okay. And we had $150 for 350 children.
150? No, for a month or day?
For 1 month.
One month?
That was the budget.
50 cents per child.
$150 for 300 kids.
50 cents per child.
And they wanted
So it's like
to
1.5 cents per day.
So they even wanted to, because they needed money, they even wanted to say, until I worked on it, and then we achieved $1,500. This was an achievement.
What, €1,500 for child? So it's like
Month.
But
per
the other
month
thing-
per child. No, per 300. So it will be what?
But later we changed.
$5.
Later we changed everything because I did some work on it. So later it became somewhat proper.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Very good. You see, this is a real history.
But
Very good, not very good
Yeah.
for child, 300 children. I'm just saying, very good to know these things.
But do you allow me to put this a little bit in perspective?
Please.
Because first of all, I love this movement and Prabhupada's work, and I hate to put negative information in the internet for everyone to hear. especially nowadays, people who hear this, they are shocked. So when we bring up these examples of critical situations, we have to say that this is 50 years ago, when the movement, everyone in the movement was pretty much new, and we were starting something new at the beginning. We did not know exactly how to do things properly. You know, just as an excuse for the mistakes, because there may not be excuses for it, but you know, we don't want to.
No, we need to contextualize, obviously. We
but
were
we
very.
don't want in the public, for the public preaching, to bring up.
Yes, we obviously the devotees, they were very
It
young.
doesn't make good advertisement, you know, that's what I'm saying.
Well, actually, if, as you said, if we put it into context,
Yes,
and we
exactly.
understand that this was about 2 generations ago, and we made mistakes, different types of mistakes, and actually, if a movement can learn from their immature years, then people actually will trust that, oh, these people are capable of self-reflection. But you're
And
right.
it should be expressed at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, and that's why when we go to this question, why not? There is not much interest now. There are many reasons. One is, as you said, our past haunts us. So people are afraid. Oh, we did that. You know, there was not enough money or not. So maybe we should be careful because we may make the same mistakes. In other words, we need to go beyond these problems of the past. Because also we have to see that other things were not stopped. There were other areas where, as young women, we did not succeed. But, like for instance, some people divorced, but people don't stop getting married, right? It's a very popular activity even now. People don't stop saying, oh, so many people divorced, I will not get married. No, don't say that. So similarly, education remains, because people still have children, so education still remains a top priority. Another possible reason is that what I call the newcomer syndrome. And we may think, oh, I did not go to Gurukul and I'm doing okay. Why do our children need it? But actually, if we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are doing it despite the fact that we were not going to Gurukul. So, and in fact, I don't know your experience, but sometimes our school years, they're quite painful. In materialistic education, sometimes you learn things which you don't know what would do. I mean, I remember yesterday I spoke a little bit about my school experience. One thing I never understood why we study square roots of numbers. I never understood. I never used in my life. I'm 62. I never had to use a square root. And I'm sure that if I needed, I could learn it. Square root means what is in square root? Square root means a number which divided by a certain number. What is that? Can you give a definition? You look more mathematical than me.
Square root means the number gets divided by itself, something that.
Okay, can you
I
Google
can
it?
see, everybody knows exactly what it is.
But I remember.
It is proving your point, it is proving your point.
So, and I remember doing these square roots and not saying, why are we doing it? And I never used it in my life. I mean, if you're what do you call it? If you are a mathematician or maybe an engineer, you may read, but everybody has to read, has to learn the square roots. For only a little section of society will use it. Anyway, so it was a bit torturous at times.
But it's good exercise for the brain.
Yeah, because the brain thinks, why do I need to do this? Anyway, we'll tell you later what the square root is if you are wondering. What is the square root? What the definition is something about the number like
So Don't try again.
Yes.
You don't know.
For example, my 4 is 16. So if you have some things I know, books, for example, you take one row, 1, 2, 3, 4 books, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can count
Pages.
in this way. You see here 4, here 4, and then 4 to 4 is 16. So you
No,
can
but that's
just
a
count.
multiplication.
Yes, and then if you see, you have
The
right,
root.
and
Yes.
then 16
See, I
is
tell
the
you,
root
people
4.
use, see, in life, most people use 5 things: additions, subtractions,
Mostly.
multiplication, divisions, and percentages. Because when you see 20% discount, you need to understand what it means to them. So, but anyway, did you find?
He has internet.
Yeah, okay, we'll get you, in the spirit of starting school, we'll give you the definition of square root.
So the square root of a number is a value when multiplied by itself. Okay, use the original number. Okay, for example, the square root of 16 is 4 because 4 into 4 is 16.
Yes,
So
like she said.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the problem is that when it's like, okay, what's the square root of 221,566? You have to, anyway, it's something that normal people don't use.
But we're spending a lot of time explaining something that has been decided being useless.
Not for everybody.
Yes.
Not for everybody. Another reason that sometimes people are not inspired is that it's not really a money-making enterprise. No, you cannot, I mean, in some kinds of education, it's big business. But Gurukula spiritual education generally is not. So if people feel more inclined, like a Vaishya type of thing, they will not be inclined to put their energy into Gurukul because there's no money. You see, there's no money. Number 4, it takes a lot of sattva guna. It takes, and sometimes there is lack of goodness. I mean, many of us, including myself, we want to be engaged physically, sometimes we're a little restless, and for Gurukul that's not good. You need to be steady. You need to see a child grow into a man, or a child grow into a girl, a woman. So it takes time, and it takes patience. And in other words, it takes brahmanas. Brahmanas are people who could be happy just by getting knowledge and giving knowledge. And they're happy. They don't need anything else. Of course, they need to eat and sleep, but that's their happiness, when they can give knowledge. But sometimes there are not many people like that. And then also sometimes lack of faith in Srila Prabhupada, sometimes we think, maybe I don't know, or lack of faith even in our children. We think, if our children go to Gurukul, maybe they don't get a job or something. Srila Prabhupada also said, for instance, that girls could go to college and learn how to teach in Gurukul. It's not that we are against going to college or universities, but the preliminary education is essential to build their character. And if some of us are uncomfortable with calling Gurukul, we can call it full immersion Krishna conscious school, where all the teachers are devotees, where the children do most of the program as the adults, and the curriculum is centered on Krishna. So, and we also have to understand what's the alternative. Srila Prabhupada was very outspoken in criticizing materialistic education. Like here, in the Panda lecture in Delhi. So it's very public. He was not minching words. He said, don't spoil your children. the modern educational system without any knowledge of Bhagavan, I may tell you frankly, not only in India, and everywhere, they are practically slaughterhouse. Use this many times. For instance,
Oh no, don't show.
in London, I've seen intelligent boys, they go to school and he's spoiled. Yes, he learns how to smoke, how to have sex, how to talk nonsense, how to use knife. Now they have assault rifles, but at that time only knives. How to fight these things? Simply slaughterhouse. This so-called school is called slaughterhouse. Yes, slaughterhouse. Of course, this was 50 years ago. Maybe the German education improved very much, so it's a plus. There's nothing else. Anyway, so here we have, this is Sir Anderson. There are many YouTube videos by him. He's very, very humorous, he's very intelligent, and unfortunately died a couple of years ago. But he explained historically how modern education is modeled on the interest of industrialization and in the image of it. Like for instance, say when you have a factory, there are different batches, or this is produced on this day. So similarly, every child is put according to age, which is not very scientific, because some children develop early, children can move quicker. So this is just an idea. Or using the bell, ringing bells. It's really like almost like an imitation of industrialization. You may want to see this this video, for instance. It's on YouTube. I can share it if you want. And he explains scientifically, and it's not a devotee, so he's not saying that we need an education that maintains quality, expands the mind of the child, and so on. It's very interesting. So otherwise, it becomes like almost like what do you call in the factory the thing? Assembly line, no? And some ideas like the Big Bang, that there's not God, it's all automatic, some idea which are more formulations, evolution, we are monkeys, sex education, which actually sex miseducation, there are a lot of drugs. Anyway, this is a cartoon from India. There's this man on the bottom right, is oh good, so many children are going inside the education system, but unfortunately intelligence comes out, discipline comes out, creativity comes out, and then they come out with their little diploma ready to be employed. And Srila Prabhupada said there is no education, actually the modern education means simply a craftsmanship. See, craftsmanship is essential because say you need an electrician, they need to know how to fix something electrical, or a plumber. Those are essential skills in society. At the same time, you not call, say, a plumber educated person. Probably it just knows how to deal with tubes and sinks and things, which is essential. But it's not real education. It's more like craftsmanship. Therefore, I'm encouraging the parents that besides the school education, they should give as much as possible Krishna consciousness in free time. For instance, this is scientific. Reading to children at night, it really helps the brain of children to develop. Reading anything, what to speak of the Krishna book. Because, see, when, like nowadays, most input is visual, videos, TikToks, scrolling, cartoons, video game. When most input is visual, you need to balance. When you read to the child, the brain of the child, first of all, understand the words, improves vocabulary. I'm talking materially, improves vocabulary, he sees connection. The brain creates visuals from the texts. Otherwise, the brain becomes like atrophied unless you give this impulse, color, music, movement. The brain cannot function. So it's good to read at night to the children. And there is a plus advantage. By reading to the children, you also learn. Because when you read, welcome, good morning. So when you read to the children at night, you also learn, and they also, and it's a moment of parent-child interaction, which is very, 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 very important. I remember personally when me and my sister would sit and my mother would read to us. Of course, it was not Krishna book, but she did the best she could. Sometimes she would read to us Mickey Mouse. But I still remember, it was very good time. She would be there and she would read the text. And I remember I would say, no, but don't read only the text, read also when they say gulp, smack, pock. Because you will not read that, no? So no, read also that. Okay. So anyway, so it's great, if reading at night to children, it's great for relational, affectionate, and it's great for the brain of the child. Of course, if it's a Krishna book, they will grow thinking of Krishna, and their brain will expand, and so it's great. So Srila Prabhupada, we know Srila Prabhupada, he was very straightforward. So sometimes says, Krishna never said that you send the children to the university and make them fools and rascals. Of course, you can send them to university, but not to make them fools and rascals, to learn specific things that they need in their life. So, one who is depending on job is a Shudra. That is not education. Unless he gets a job, his education is useless. Therefore, he's a Shudra. Shudra means what? It's not an insult. It's a psychological typology. Shudras are psychologically dependent. They need to have a master. They need to have a paycheck at the time or at the end of the month. Now, it's not bad to have a paycheck because the system is that even if you are, let's say, a university professor, you need a paycheck at the end of the month, even if you are a researcher. So it's not a paycheck that is the problem. The issue is when you think, oh, I'm dependent. I'm dependent. Unless this master feeds me, I'm lost. So Srila Prabhupada said, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, they will create their own means of livelihood. He tells a story, there was a man in Calcutta that he wanted to start a business. He really had some good idea, but he had no money. So he went to a big rich person and he asked, can you give me some seed money? Because I have this plan for a startup. And this man practically insulted him. And he showed outside the window, there was a dead rat. And he said, that's your seed capital. Why? Because at that time there was the plague in Calcutta. And the municipality would pay a small amount, maybe say 5 cents or an euro, now would be like 5 cents, if you bring a dead rat to the municipality. Because the rats have this disease, so if you bring it, they'll give you 1 cent, 5 cents. But this boy took it seriously, and he went to the street just collecting dead rats, putting in a sack. Okay, then he brought to the municipality, maybe in one day 2 euros or something like that. The next day 2 euros. Then he bought some, let's say, pan for chewing. Okay, 5 years of pen, he made 7 euros. So, and then slowly, he built his business, and he became a very rich and famous man in Calcutta. So Srila Prabhupada tells this story. So a Vaishya, a real Vaishya, he would think, I will make money. I'll buy for 8 and I'll sell for 10. Could be anything. And he has faith that I'll manage. Srila Prabhupada gave an example. There's people in Calcutta, independent, self-sufficient, they go around in the morning, they sell door to door, they sell dal. Everybody needs dal. So instead of going to the shop, they buy from the person who brings it. In the night, everybody, at the time there was this, not so much electricity, so kerosene. Everybody has kerosene lamps. So the same man will go, kerosene, they'll buy. They save the time to go and bring it. Not kerosene also stinks, right? So they bring you home. So somebody will. So we need to give our children this capacity of thinking in terms of opportunities.
Actually, Srila Prabhupada, just by his example, he is giving everything. This is how I started my service. Exactly this. This is what you're describing. I found the paper where Prabhupada was writing the date, in, outcome, and leftover money. And he was writing there, 20 cents for salt. Huh? So here, if you write, you make your booking, and you say you write down 20 cents for salt. You say, yeah, of course, something wrong with you. Right? But I followed when I started this service. I said, how am I going to do this big job? And I just follow what Prabhupada said. I said, he made a paper, say, to today, after 25 years, for 3 million euro debts that I had to pay back, you can see I'm teaching her. You can see every day, the date, income, outcome, and the leftover, 20 cents salt, there's 2 euro, there's 3 euro, and this is how it worked. 3 million euro got taken care of.
Jai.
This is, so Prabhupada, if we listen to Prabhupada, he's giving us all the answers.
Yeah, and he was also faithful, no? He would go, he had this 40 rupees, which in America you cannot even change, because nobody will change in 40 rupees. In fact, he spent it, you know when he spent those 40 rupees? You know the story? When he came back
Maybe I know
in
it.
67, yeah, maybe I heard, 67 with Kirtananda, he arrived in Delhi, it was night, and he had to take a taxi to Chippiwada temple where he was staying before. And so he handed these 40 rupees to the taxi driver. It was huge at that time, 40 rupees was a lot. And somehow it was in the middle of the night and the taxi driver just took the money and went away. Well, it was actually a lot. That's how he spent those 40 rupees. Okay, so he went to America with nothing, but he had a few books and he said, no, I'll sell the books and no donations. Even in 26 2nd Avenue, at the end of the lecture, with these hippies, he will ask donations and people give 5 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents, $1. No? And you have to pay the rent and pay the clothing.
We started Sankirtan here in Germany. We had no books, no nothing, absolutely. What did we do? We took a piece of paper, write the Hare Krishna mantra by hand, and go on the street and give people and ask for a donation for it. And that money we bought food for it with them. This is how we started.
By hand, huh?
Yeah, handwritten and give the mantra because we didn't have money for nothing. And the temple, the devotees were living in a garage, you know, just put your car. And there was a cloth in the middle of it, on one side the Prabhus, on the other side Mataji, and outside there was a bucket of water for shower. That was it. And the food, sometimes we were after, when the shops were closed, we go in the trash and find the good tomato and the good this and this and that to cook. This is how we started.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, in traditional education, the children, even if they come from royal families, they learn to beg. In Thailand, for instance, they still have this culture at least one male child from every family, they become a monk, at least for some time. And if you are in Bangkok, 6 o'clock in the morning, you see these monks going around. It's like practice, like sadhana. And people like, no, they know this punya. So sometimes they give, a Coca-Cola can, whatever they give, they bring it back to the monastery. So it's, even in the Manu Samhita, it says that the brahmachari should go out and collect. And the first time they go out to collect, they should go to their mother or to a relative, because you want to give them a good experience, right? Imagine you go, 5-year-old, you collect, hey, go get the job, get lost. It's a trauma. So you go to the mother or the auntie, so I'm sure they'll give a lot of stuff. So the child, oh, this is cool, So, and even they say, there was the whole culture in Manu Samhita. We don't follow everything in the Manu Samhita also because we don't know where many things come from. But it says that there should be, a Brahmana should use a mantra, a Kshatriya should use a mantra, a Vaishya should use another mantra. It's the same mantra, but like something like Bhiksham Dada, Dehi, the Bhiksham Dehi, but the Kshatriya should say Dehi, but
Bhavati Viksham.
Yeah, there are 3 words and they have to put it according to their varna, so the person knows whom he is dealing with. So there is the whole culture of begging, and indirectly or directly, Srila Prabhupada gave us the culture. Sometimes it was, of course, sheer necessity, but it's very good because people become, children become humble.
Yes.
Not otherwise, children often nowadays become entitled to entertainment, entitled to everything, and they start screaming. You remember yesterday we were in the train and there was a little girl, and you said she looks like a princess. Not only looked, but how she dealt, And there was the 2 adults, I think there was the mother and the brother of the mother, probably. I mean, they spoke German somewhere. But they were serving her, oh, take this toy, oh, take this, and take that, So I'm not saying it's bad, but when you project it society-wise, the children become demanding. Oh, I'm not being entertained, so there is something wrong, I'm not being pampered, there's something wrong. Vedic culture is the opposite. The child, Guru Sudrita Sorita, the Bhagavad Radhamuni says, the child should learn to please the Guru, and that's inspiration. Otherwise, the modern education means to create dogs. The dog goes door to door and moves the tail. Please give me if you have anything. Like in Vedic culture, no Brahmana will accept any job, no Kshatriya will accept any job, no Vaishya will accept any, only Shudras. So, ideally, we don't want our children to become like this. Ideally, we want to become like this. Studying with devotees under the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, learning about Krishna. And then, of course, if they need specific skills, they want to be doctors, of course they go to medicine school. They want to be lawyers, they go to law school. But it's good to give some character at the beginning of life. Okay, this is a picture because I gave this presentation in Brazil. This was the Gurukula in Nova Gokula outside Sao Paulo. See Dhanvantari Maharaj was very young. You know Dhanvantari Maharaj is still very much active in education. And these are children, of course, now they'll be in their 50, 60. Okay. So, if you want to know more about Gurukula, I have a free book for you. You can download it here, archive.org. It's a major site for all everything. And it's entitled How to Mess Up Varnashram by Underestimating Women and Neglecting Gurukula. So there are many, half is about women, half is about children Gurukula. And it's a free book. You can download it, and there are many more quotes. If you like to understand Srila Prabhupada's idea of Gurukula schooling, in fact, he wanted to bring children not only from devotees. He wanted, his idea is that let's have a very successful school that people in society, they will feel, I want to send my child here, there. Just like in India, they call it convent schools. They're schools run by Christians. And many Hindus send their children there, not because they want to be Christian, but because they have a good reputation. So ideally, we should become the education provider for society. Because we have good things to say, you know, with prashada, cleanliness, sense control, respect for women, and so on. The society needs this. So I'm finished, 8:35.
Thank you. To this point, I'm giving right now, I'd like, if you don't mind, to give a comment.
Yeah, please, we want to capture online.
You know, we have been around for so many years, and when we started going on the street and distributing books or Harinam or whatever, people used to yell at us, throw stones at us, spit at us, and tell us to go to work, you know, like this. Now, time has passed. Now, the environment is creating problems. Now, there's so many things are going on, and people are watching us. We are still doing the same things we've been doing 50 years back. And now we go on the street, and people look at us, and those who never seen us before with a friend, and they tell us in the street, they say, these are actually the good people. They already told us 50 years back everything that's going on now. This is what we are seeing on the street now.
Jai! Thank you.
This is why it's so important to do what we have to do. Prabhupada said, he gave us everything we need to know to do it right. Everything. He told me personally, not in voice, but in my, I don't know how you call this, mental thing or whatever it's called.
Mystic darshan.
Yeah, what is mystic? Yeah, in the sense it is. He said, I told you everything you need to know, yeah, now you go and do it. So if we just listen to Prabhupada, in his books, in his teaching, and everything, and we just simple, just do it, and it will come out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, have a nice day, and see you this afternoon, 2 o'clock. We start with the kirtan at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
For the kirtan, there will be 3 o'clock deity greeting.
Deity greeting.
And then after that, there will be class of a small fire ceremony for the occasion of the day.
Before or after the class?
We will see how the thing is
We'll see how
working.
the flow.
Yeah, and then Prasharam after that, and that's it.
Jai.
Very nice.
Jai.
Thank you for visiting us.
So
Thank
we
you
are
very
very happy to be here in Harinam Desh.
Haribo.
We look forward to meet also some of you personally. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
come today.
Hare Krishna. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Ki Jai.
Jai.